Here we go with another show.
Indeed. How you doing, C-Dub?
I'm great, Rita Wild. Here we are. Another fantastic episode. This is exciting.
Yes, indeed. Our rock and roll confessional today is with Matt Sorum, drummer for Guns N' Roses and The Cult, to name a few. He has a new book titled Talkin Jive, named after a song on the Use Your Illusion 1 album. It was just released on May 10th, and it's all about his life, starting with his crazy childhood through his current years.
Matt talks about his time while he was in Guns N' Roses, The Cult, Velvet Revolver, along with how he met his wife, Ace. The book is a fantastic read, and this is a great interview. Please note that we did have some recording issues with Matt, so his recording drops out every once in a while. We tried to clean it up best we could, but it definitely isn't perfecto.
So let's get on with our show with drummer Matt Sorum. Nice to see you again, Matt. We ran into each other several times during, I guess, the 90s with Cult and Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed reading your book, Talkin Jive, and I am just so glad that you survived it all.
Thank you. Me too.
How did you survive it all?
I don't know. How do I look?
Oh, you look good. You look great, man.
I still got my hair on my head and everything. It's really good. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I just, it's interesting. It's like, I look back and when I wrote the book and I started going, man, I should have been dead. But, I felt that about everybody in that band. I was like, especially Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Like I was going to get a phone call one day, one of the guys, but luckily that never happened so far. So far, so good. But we just, we were waving the flag for rock and roll. We're doing what we're
definitely.
It was like the Rolling Stones wrote the script. We're just reading the script, trying to be those guys and playing great role, much like that band, the Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin or any of the greats that came before us, or the Who, or Aerosmith. And look at Aerosmith, same thing.
Okay.
The Toxic Twins. Okay, let's be like those guys.
Yeah.
My two idols were Keith Moon and John Bonham.
Oh my God.
I want to have so much money that I can just drive a Rolls into a swimming pool.
You didn't do that, at least in the book, so that's good. But
I drove a Porsche into a mountain. But it's not in the book, but that's different.
Was that your Porsche?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot that I want to talk to you about the book that both CW and I want to talk to you about in the book, but also congratulations on being a daddy.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. First child, huh?
That's my first kid. Yeah. I'm the guy that wanted to wait until I was ready. I didn't think I was good for a kid. I'm a child of divorce, as it states in the book. And that was something I guess that was a little bit of a fear. I didn't want to be starting a family if I didn't feel like I was able to be a complete father for that child. And the time is right for me. And some people could say, oh, he's a little old to be doing that, isn't he? I'm like, Mick Jagger just had a kid, so go screw yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like a pup next to him.
That's right.
So yeah, I got a beautiful baby girl.
Congratulations.
And you kind of had it rough with your mom and your dad and your stepdad growing up all those years, right? It didn't seem like they were very connected to you.
Well, my parents got divorced when I was 6 years old, and and when you're that young, everything's just weird. But I'm very Tony Robbins about it. Now I'm like, if that didn't happen, that might have not made me gravitate to wanting to be in and finding that out to express myself, or like, hey, look at me, I'm over here, I'm on stage. I mean, there's so many entertainers that are maybe just like seeking attention and validation and love and validation and the love of an audience, but no real connection with you that you can have a relationship with. And I think that's based on my childhood, and that's how I struggled through that until I met my wife, Ace. And she actually put up a lot of shit until I finally, the light bulb went off, and I'm like, I'm not going to screw this up, you know? And now we have a child together. And so, yeah. So, I mean, the book is trials and tribulations of life, just like anybody else's life story, with a common thread of rock and roll.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Interesting how, you surround yourself with so many different characters who are kind of like the same. I mean, you're in a band with, it's starting off with Tori Amos, and then Ian Astbury, and then Axl Rose, and then Scott Weiland. It's like you can go to all of those and just go, holy shit, and then you're just wrapped up in that tornado of craziness.
You say Tori Amos. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I came to Hollywood in 1979. And as you guys know, you guys are buffs, culturally, everything was shifting so much. Punk rock was coming, but that in turn turned into wave music, the Plimsouls and 2020 and
oh god, yeah.
That. And everyone was walking up and down the street all of a sudden dressed in black skinny ties, right?
Yep.
I had to morph, and I cut my hair, and I joined a new wave band. At electronic drums, and somewhere along the way I met Tori Amos. Here she was, and we did a record and got a record deal. Ended up, I didn't get the phone call when the record deal came. Here I spent 2 years of my life working with her, and that was my first sort of like, little bit of a bite in the ass, going, oh, this is the record business.
Yeah.
You're the drummer, you're out. We're going to sign Tori. And I look back at it now, that was God's rejection is God's protection. It's like he did not want me in that band. And the door opened. And then, of course, a few years later, I joined the Cult.
Right.
Going back and writing the book, that's what you start to understand when you're reading through the timeline. You're like, oh, wow, wait, because I joined this. And if I wouldn't have been in the Cult, I wouldn't have been in GNR. If I wouldn't have been in GNR, there would have been no Revolver. So it's all this sort of happens, this thing that happens to life as this higher universal intelligence kind of leading you down the path, right?
And you definitely seem to be there. You seem, like at the end of the book, and I'm so happy to say it, that you've become like very aware of yourself and your surroundings and the spiritual side of life. And I think being in the desert helps that too. I know that you're out there towards Joshua Tree, Palm Springs, Palm Desert, whatever. And I got to say, just changing subject real quick, but on track, my God, what a great job with that Billy Gibbons album, Hardware.
Oh, thank you. The hardest part about writing the book, I definitely said to the writers that I was working with, I said, I don't want to be a jaded guy or ill intent. I need to tell a truthful story. I want anybody to get hurt, but I need to sort of dive into put the uniform of rock and roll on for some of the segments. Like when you read the 80s and 90s shit, I almost revert back to that guy a little bit. And I had to kind of go into that because I didn't want to be this older guy telling the story. Well, that's what,
Yeah.
So I just tell it, but it's really weird when I go back. The sensibility, there's this guy in there. It's like, hey, I'm still here. That young rock and roll rebellious kid that still feels that, even though I know I can't act that way anymore, but it's there. And that's the greatness of rock and roll and how we all really resonate with it. It's that feeling of freedom and rebellion. The Rolling Stones have been the common thread for all of us almost my whole life. So that's when you say the soundtrack, culturally, it is. So for me, coming out of all of it, when I go back and look at what unfolded for me, I'm very grateful. And I have to say it that way, and that I lived through it. And in a very much Tony Robbins kind of way, it all went the way it's supposed to go so I could become this guy now, right? And family and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, the book really, takes you through that. Never. Sometimes I'd be reading it, it's like, oh my God, he had to have died at this. And then I'm reading along, it's like, no, he didn't die. He's alive. You got to wait till the end, and he's still here. And
Yeah.
because we all, it was the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it was
Great, wasn't it? It's fucking great.
Some parts of it.
I have to admit, I wanted to knock you around a couple times and go, Matt, it's time to stop.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people did.
There were times though I just said, man, I didn't get invited to that party.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But everything was an adventure, man. It was like I felt like
you lived it. Yeah, you took advantage of it and lived it.
Yeah, it was an adventure for sure. And I'm glad I did it. I did, there's things that I look back and I learned a lot about myself and, no regrets, but things I would have done differently. And just, things that rear their ugly head when you're inebriated and got too much money in the bank and all that shit. Like that causes problems sometimes.
Sure.
But like you said, luckily I'm not like this guy sitting here, bitter and upset. And I'm very grateful. My life now has a lot of turns in it that have brought me into a whole different creative process, like the Billy Gibbons record.
Yeah.
Right. I met Billy through the years and, he probably looks at me and goes, oh, Matt's a good drummer, but he knows me from GNR. He knows me from Guns N' Roses. So that brought me to Billy. Right.
Right.
And Billy's like, Matt, you know how to play a shuffle? I'm like, well, yeah. He never heard me play a shuffle. And to Billy Gibbons, the shuffle is a very important attribute. So I went out on tour with him, did the first record with him. And man, I studied that shuffle, that Texas shuffle. And he gave me a whole other musical education. He's a technician of the blues. And I'm a rock guy that kind of came through all these different bands and morphed, but he's learning along the way. So Billy is such an amazing guy. And then he trusted me with making his new record. And I co-produced it with him and co-wrote it. And I look at that and I'm like, this is one of the greatest guitar players living on the planet. I mean, how did I hear? And even Slash will go, Matt, you playing with Gibbons? I'm like, yeah.
It's cool. You've had a lot of great opportunities and with a lot of great bands and been part of that. And I know you did Cherie Curry's, which we interviewed her last year.
Boulevards of Splendor. Yeah.
Great album. And I think that was done a while ago, but it just took a while to come out. And also another person who I love and admire who just keeps her head in the bushes, but Poe is another singer who I think is absolutely amazing. And I wish she would pop her head out and do some more work.
I produced her first hit, Angry Johnny.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah. That was for me, that was really cool because Guns N' Roses had broken up. And then I was like, when you leave a band of that magnitude and that big of a band, it's like, what next, right? You're like, what am I going to do? What band am I going to join? So I started producing records and I ran into this girl, Poe, and I just thought she was incredible. She had this trip hop kind of, and, here I am, this rock guy, but then she found out my love of Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel and, the different kind of music I was into and my background. I started telling her, hey, I played with like King Solomon Burke and, Gladys Knight and the Pips. She's like, what?
Wow.
So I started as a session musician. And so I was always morphing as a drummer. I had to learn this band or learn this band. And that was the thing. And the reason I was able to get so many gigs, I was able to learn and morph. And, if I join Guns N' Roses, I'm going to wear a headband and I'm going to wear a Harley Davidson. Everything that went into being in that band. It's like, I'm part of this club and this is how it goes down. So when I met Poe, it was so weird because she had this trip hop album that was all electronic. In those days, K-Rock wouldn't play any songs without guitar on it. I'm like, okay, now it's the opposite.
Yeah.
So I took her in the studio. We went into a Dave Jordan studio, which used to be Wars across from the old Cat and Fiddle.
Mm.
And we tracked the live version of Angry Johnny to get it on K-Rock. And I remember Chris Lord Alge came over and he said, go across the street and get a beer. And I don't think any of this is in the book, so I'll just tell you the story. So he goes, I'm going to mix this, be back in an hour. He had cello on it, acoustic guitar. We came back in an hour and I sat behind the console and I went, oh my God, this is amazing. The vocal was like right out of here. This cello's beautiful. And we got top 10 hit with that version of the song. Angry Johnny got on K-Rock, took off. Album went platinum. And I'm in my car at a studio called Conway, and I'm listening to the track, and the mix was insane. It still sounds great. And a guy named Rob Cavallo walked up to me, a big producer, did a band called Green Day. He goes, what is that? I go, get in. Rob sits in my car and he listens to it. He goes, who mixed that? I go, a guy named Chris Lord Alge. He goes, you mean the guy that does like Joe Cocker and like Jackson Brown? I'm like, yeah. Fast forward, he mixed the next Green Day record. Which
my God.
Wow.
And then his career took off in the world, in the modern rock world. And to this day, he remembers that I called him and I go, hey, this guy, Rob Cavallo, wants you to mix this band called Green Day. And so if I ever need a mix, I'll call, hey, Chris, Matt. He goes, I got you.
Yeah. But it's great. You've been really able to branch out in so many different directions. You're just not the drummer guy anymore. You know, it's like you've really made a name for yourself with producing and stuff like that. I remember one part of the book you were showing Axl how to record some stuff, and you're talking about Pro Tools and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really interesting, but I thought it was also interesting how you really began to see the different sides of people, because we can go down this path or we can stay away from it, but you should have been received more credit than you did, like maybe on some of the songwriting and some of the arrangements and stuff like that, I think.
Well, Axl actually was very cool with me. You know, Axl in the book, he talks about where we sit on the floor and we're eating caviar.
Yeah.
And he was a real giver. He was. He had an interesting way of being able to communicate like that. But, you know, he heard, I did another song for Poe, the second track I recorded. I'm spacing out on the name of it.
Hello?
Hello, hello, hello. Are you out there? And I recorded it. And I guess Axl was driving to the studio. He lived in Malibu, so he's coming down PCH. And he runs in, he goes, Matt, this song just came on K-Rock and it said it was produced by you. And I went, oh, what song? He said, it was like, hello, hello. And I said, oh, that's Poe. And there was this breakdown in the middle. It went, and I created these loops where I actually made them with real drums and put like distortion on them. He goes, what was that? I go, well, that was a loop. I cut loops and I distorted them and made them sound weird. He goes, let's do some of that. So it was really cool. I think he appreciated my musical ability and my arrangement sort of ideas. But, you know, that there was a pecking order, and there always is in a band. And that's just the way it went. I'm happy with it. You know, it's cool. They took good care of me.
Are you still friends with everybody in Guns N' Roses?
I talked to Slash the other day. He sent me a really text from my baby. Same with Duff. Haven't spoken to Axl in a long time. We've had some communication through email, but through Izzy Stradlin, I still talk to quite a bit. He's out in the desert.
Yeah.
And Ojai sometimes. And I think he's all over the place. And then Gilby's a really good friend of mine.
For your book, you did a recording, which is on, I think it's only on vinyl, right? Which has you reading a couple chapters from your book. And there's also music in there. So it's actually two-part question. One, did you write the music or play on the music? And two, what is it like when you now go back and you start reading your story? How do you feel inside about like listening to what you've written now when you record this?
Yeah, so I got this cool publisher. They're called Rare Bird, and they do a lot of really cool books. Check them out. They're very music driven, art driven. Happy to be aligned with them. So my publisher Tyson calls me. He goes, Matt, do a sampler vinyl, and he knows I love vinyl. I'm a big vinyl advocate. So I go, what are you talking about? He goes, like, let's do 10 snippets and then do some music underneath. I go, you mean original music? He goes, yeah. Say, oh, I got to write the music and then do that. Okay, I'll knock that out. When do you need it? Oh, can you do it next week? So I call my buddy, Christopher Thorne from the band Blind Melon. Mm-hmm. And he's got this killer studio up at Joshua Tree. Now I'm down in Palm Springs, so I'm down below about 30 minutes from Joshua Tree. And really great musician friend of mine from the early 90s who was, cool guitar player. And then my collaborator with Billy Gibbons, Chad Slozer, who's a really multi-instrumentalist. I started pulling up all these like riffs on my iPhone. Like if I have a riff, I put it on my iPhone notes. Like in the old days, we used to put it on cassette and you go, there's the riff. So I got it on my notes. I start sending him ideas. I go, hey, can you put it down? Run it to a click. And I go, we got 2 days to do. So we're chucking ideas at each other online, which is a whole new paradigm. It's like, really? We're like creating music on email. So he goes, I got it. And he started sending me back these rough versions. And I'm like, okay, lay down the bass. I go up to Christopher's. He's got a drum kit. I start laying down the drums. And I did about 6 film scores. I did a lot of independent films. Mm-hmm. So I got a sense of soundtrack and emotion. And like, okay, this needs to be melancholy. This needs to be up-tempo. I don't know if you guys have heard any of it.
Yeah.
There's one that's like about Johnny Motorhead, and it's like rocking. And then there's a segment called Grandpa Dies, and it's very like almost Nick Cave meets like a dark jazz thing. And I did that bunch of different feelings, and then I distorted the mic and I did my voice over the track. That way with the music playing, and I talked. Yeah. Very cool. And that's the sampler of about 10 sampler chapter pieces. Some are longer than others. And then I was going to do the audiobook, and I went up to the same studio. Man, this is a whole different animal. Just being naked with your voice.
Right. I
was like, oh. And I called my publisher. I said, I don't think I have it in me. But stuff was happening. My baby was coming. Yeah. We were like 2 weeks out for the kid. And I'm like, I don't think I can emotionally do this right now. And they're like, let's get an audiobook guy. So the audiobook will be another reader. But I couldn't leave my wife at home for 2 weeks. And ended up, our baby came 3 weeks early. So thank God, because I would have been stuck in the studio. No, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah. What has being a father done for you? How has it made you change?
It's not about me at all, ever. It's like all I think about is my baby. And, we're here in Santa Barbara. We have a house in Palm Springs. I said to my wife, I said, let's go someplace nice and cool and rent a house and have a street that we can roll the stroller down where there's no traffic. And she goes, oh, that sounds amazing. I said, we'll just nest. We're not going to, I told Ken, my publicist, I said, Ken, don't wear me out. I got to walk the kid. So he said, well, okay, we'll knock a few out. The kid came early. She came 3 weeks early. And that kind of knocked me back on publicity for the book. So we're just finishing up the publicity, and then the book comes out. But everything's changed. I mean, it's just like last night I was up feeding the baby, changing the diaper every night, but I love it. At first it was like daunting. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. But now I can't wait. I love it so much.
Who needs sleep?
I know.
It's like the old rock star days. You didn't sleep back then. Why sleep now?
No, hell no.
Different reasons.
You know what else? People were like, Matt, aren't you a little old to be having a kid? I'm like, no, I don't think so. Yeah. and I think I'm ready. And I quit smoking. I was smoking, like I said, I was smoking these damn cigars.
Mm.
I quit smoking a week before the baby came. I haven't smoked since. And I'm like, I want to get healthy. I want to stay alive. I'm pretty healthy, but
Yeah.
She gives me a lot to live for, you know. She's like a little gem too. Like stuff's like starting to like just happen, like really good stuff naturally. It's like I call her my lucky gem.
Mm. That's
Yeah.
sweet. Is that your wife Ace's? Is that her first baby also?
Yeah. Me and Ace have been together going on 17 years. We've been married 8. I met Ace when she was 20 years old and I was 43. People are like, Matt, no. I'm like, I'm telling you, she's the one. And I guess we disproved them all.
Yeah. And you go through that in the book too, you know, just how she didn't really know who you were, I think, right? You know, and she had her own career. She was a dancer and stuff like that. But she actually got sober, I think, before you did, or you know, it was just like this progression of, okay, you know, there are things that I need to do and change. And she helped you along with that. And you helped her along with it too. It seems like it was just a wonderful union to see where you both are now, you know?
You know, I have a lot of buddies of mine that are maybe a little bit older that haven't gotten to a relationship yet. And they're kind of like, Matt, when did it happen for you? And I said, well, it was pretty instant. It was like a light switch went click and a light bulb went off. And I was like, this is it. You don't screw it up. Right. In the book, if you see, I mean, and my wife going to the situation with the baby, we didn't have an easy childbirth. It was a rough road and everything's great now, but it gave me a lot of clarity on what my mother went through. I say to guys, call me for my advice or don't screw it up. You can go screw it up, but you're going to go out. What is your intention doing? Think about it. Just don't screw it up. And, you know, and it takes work, relationships take work. We all know that.
Sure.
And I love it.
So happy that your life is where it is right now. I mean, it's like a full circle. And there's so much to be said about that appreciation once that you reach that point that you're blessed, you're grateful. And it's just like, wow, how did I get here? Probably pinch yourself quite a few times during the day. And you know, I'm just very proud of you.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, you know, it's not all bed of roses all the time. I mean, you know, there's everything we all go through, you know, you just have to keep it take care of yourself, you know. But yeah, I'm excited about the future. I've got a lot of really cool stuff going on. I'm doing a lot of different things.
What do you have upcoming?
I'm building a recording studio in the desert right now out of an old church.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Really?
So I'm taking my rig out I moved out, sold my house in LA in March. I've been there for 42 years in LA. And that was a big thing, leaving LA. Yeah. That was like, wow, I can't believe this. I was always like a little bit afraid to leave, like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But now I don't feel that way at all. Like I'm like out in the desert, I'm making new connections. I'm meeting new people. We're virtual. We could do, you know, whatever. And
that energy that you talk about, you know, from the desert, I mean, that's kind of spiritual in itself. You know, it doesn't happen every day, but yeah, I mean, the desert to me is one of the most beautiful and calming and
that's native land out there.
Yeah.
It's truly Indian Agua Caliente land. Mm-hmm. That comes from, you know, the natives settling there. And I feel that energy within, you know, it's not like, ooh, but
it's a vortex, kind of like Sedona.
Yeah, we live right next to the San Jacinto Mountains. And we wake up and I look out and I'm like, you know what? This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Really?
Now we're here in Santa Barbara, about a couple blocks from the old mission.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
All right, Matt, we have a couple questions that may not have been in the book. We're going to throw at you real quick. It's called the bonus round. So here we go. What is the coolest piece of memorabilia you have?
Oh, I got an amazing certificate of authenticity. I have a certificate of band membership as a member of Motorhead from Lemmy Kilmister and Phil Campbell that gave me a plaque that says honorary member of Motorhead.
Oh my God.
That is cool.
I have that. And I have Lemmy's ashes, some of them.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Some of his closest friends and some other people have spoke about this online, so I don't want to talk out of turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a very, very heavy emotional thing for me to be included in the people that got.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a cool idea, like, you know. So I have that. You know, I'm happy with the accolades I got from my band. You know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame award. I could look at it.
Yeah. Congrats.
The Grammy. You know.
Yeah. With the Velvet
But
Revolver.
what other kind of cool stuff do I have? I got I was going through my storage locker the other day and I found my old Wayne Gretzky hockey stick.
It's signed?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I was really into hockey and I played the Easton drumstick. And that's how I met Wayne when he was playing for the Kings.
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
That's great
A lot
stuff.
of those sports guys are such rock and roll fans.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like it's sort of mutual admiration, if you will, and they want to meet you and you want to meet them. And then you're like, wow. And I find that in my life a lot. You'll meet an actor and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm a huge fan, you know?
It's nice. It's a great connection when it does happen.
Yeah. Like I become friends with the strangest people that no one would ever expect. Like Jane Lynch is like one of my really good friends.
Oh, she's amazing.
She's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Leslie Nicole, who was in Downton Abbey.
Okay.
She played the cook. She's like my friend, you know?
That's so
But
cool.
we met through like animal charity. Or, you know, I met Ally McGraw, who I love. You know, I mean, from her day, she was probably the most beautiful actress in the world. And, you know, just people that I've met along the way that are inspiring people, you know.
That's what it's all about. I can definitely see a sequel to this book. You know, because you said you left a lot out, but I mean, now becoming, you know, a father and that kind of stuff, I can definitely see a sequel. But let's get this first one out.
I got some stuff going on that you guys wouldn't even believe.
Tell us.
I don't go there yet. It's more in the entrepreneurial world, but stuff that's going to like do a lot of good for the world, I hope.
I saw something about a beer, your own beer.
I got beer. Yeah, I got beer.
Wasn't there pandas or something also? Oh, bears in China.
Read about moon bears in China. Yeah. I'm the U.S. ambassador for Asia. I'm on the board of Dolphin Project.
Oh.
I've been to Taiji, Japan. I have my own charity called Adopt the Arts for kids in LA. I have 600 kids.
Great.
I have a startup company. Not to be an overachiever, but I am.
But that's great because, you know, it's like you overachieved in music in the sense that you did so many things and played so many things. And now you have this opportunity to give back and you have so much to give back. And it's a blessing.
Yeah. And, you know, I think doing stuff that's like creative, like entrepreneurial work is creative. The beer thing happened kind of by accident. Like I go to Brazil a lot. I have a bunch of companies in Brazil I work with. And I always liked the idea of doing that because my friend Sammy Hagar just killed it in the tequila business.
Yeah.
And then this guy came to me and he said, hey, we got this distillery in this little town called Piracicaba, which is about 2 hours outside of Sao Paulo. I don't know if you've been to Brazil, but it's incredible.
Mm-mm.
The most amazing people. The passion is just deep. The food, drink, the way they live their lives, family, incredible.
Love it.
I went to this little town and I said, well, what do you want to call the beer? And he said, well, how about Portuguese for the drummer? O baterista. And they said, no, English. So I go, the drummer? Oh, yeah. So we call the beer the drummer.
Excellent.
And it's coming out at Bristol Farm, 12 stores, and it's going to be distributed around the U.S. And doing that. And then check theos.fi. It's an A. And then check out globalpandemicshield.com. It's a website, NFTs for science. And doing that. And then I've got one more thing. It's called Sorum.io, STHORM.io. A bunch of really cool stuff. I'm on the Global Business Blockchain Council. I'm really into blockchain. I speak at Davos. I've been to Richard Branson's summits. So I do a bunch of weird stuff like that.
Are you going to the moon?
I could. He asked me if I wanted a ticket. He only wanted 200,000.
Oh,
I thought it was 250. So you got a deal, man.
Yeah, employee discount.
But I say to people, they're like, see a picture of me with like Richard Branson or something, or like Sergey Brin, or like, Jamie Dimon. Like, what the hell are you doing with Jamie Dimon? And I'm like, he wanted to meet me and I wanted to meet him. And so I get thrown into these really interesting circles of people based on being a token rock guy,
That's cool.
And I like it. Like, I want to be there. I want to learn. I want to meet these people because there's so many incredible people out there doing cool shit. And I like that. I'm like, What is it? How can I be involved?
Sparks your mind, sparks your imagination.
Yeah. I mean, music for me is always going to be there. It's always going to be a thread, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will always make music. And after making Billy's album, I fell in love with making music again. If I could make albums with Billy Gibbons every day, I could do that the rest of my life. Not to say all albums that I've made have been easy. A lot have been hard. But so that turned me on and wanting to go back and make more records. If I can figure out monetarily how to make it work.
Sure.
That's harder now.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to get enough funds to be able to figure out how to make a great record.
Well, and to sell the record, because so much of it's in the touring now. That's where so much of the money is.
Well, Cherie Curry's record we made in my backyard, my recording studio. I mean, I made that record for no money.
See, that's cool.
And I just love Cherie, and I said, I'm going to make your record. And we opened for Joan Jett. I put a band together for her, and I said, you still have the voice. You can still sing. And you look great. She gave up her career when she was 17.
Isn't that crazy?
Walked away, became a chainsaw artist.
Yeah.
I said, man, we went out, opened for Joan, and the place was packed, 8,000 people. And we knocked them out. We played a bunch of old Runaways stuff, Queens of Noise, and played like some T-Rex and Bowie and a bunch of songs. And right after that, I said, Tree, you have to make a record. And we made that record. It might not have sold 1 million records, but it's a nice piece of art.
It's a really good record.
Yeah. It's a great record. Yeah. Yeah.
Very much so. I'm sure we're against our time window or surpassed it, but I just want to say thank you so much for writing that book. I think it'll be good for a lot of people to read it, especially if you can come out on the other side like you have. I love where you're at. Just that you're just very calm, collected, spiritual presence that wants to do good, and you're a daddy now, and that's going to make all the difference.
Yeah. My wife's probably going, where the hell are you? We got diapers to change.
Better get to it.
Luckily, it's not yours.
Yeah. Well,
not your diapers.
Not yet.
Excellent. Thank you again.
Thank you, Matt, so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We did this interview a couple of months back.
A few months.
Okay, well,
back in August.
I mean, the last couple of years are just kind of like
a blur.
Separated. Yes, they are, aren't they?
This was one of those times where it was like the very last minute. Our good friend Ken Phillips calls and goes, "The book's been postponed. The book's been postponed. Can you hold the interview?" And we're like, okay, we're going to hold it. So
yeah, but very happy to be able to put it out now as the book is officially out. So thank you, Matt Sorum, for taking time out from feeding Lou Ellington, his new baby girl. And CW mentioned Ken Phillips for coordinating the interview. He always does a fantastic job, and we appreciate him.
Thank you, Ken. And special thanks to Elizabeth W. for helping research.
Yeah, we appreciate the E. You can follow Matt on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Matt with 2 T's, Sorum, Sorum.
Matt's new book, Double Talkin Jive, was just released. You can find it wherever great books are sold, or go to Matt's website at mattsorum.com to order an autographed copy or the vinyl audio signed copy. The vinyl has, I think, 4 chapters that he reads, and
cool.
You can pick that up there also. And go to our website to check out our show notes. We have a lot of them on Matt, including some great videos, plenty of links, and also the links to order the autographed books.
Check out our posts on Instagram and Facebook. CW does a really great job with a calendar, a daily calendar, so you get stuff that was going on in rock and roll history and stuff. That is at Rock and Roll Confessional. So you can get that on Instagram. You can get that on Facebook. You can get that, this thing wherever they're sold.
Yeah, that's great. Perfect, Reese. Make sure you pick up 2 or 3. I mean, if you're going to buy one, you might as well buy some for your friends.
Yeah, that's right.
You know I'm going to leave that in there.
It's been a long day. All right. So please check out our posts on Instagram and Facebook, both at Rock and Roll Confessional. Please share and like them. It helps get the word out, and you can subscribe to the podcast and write a review whenever you can. We appreciate it. Thanks for the show. Thank you, CW. Thank you, everybody. And just keep rocking along and be safe.
Thank you all very much. See you soon. Bye-bye.